Welcome to the Connectable podcast.
The Connectable podcast starts in 3, 2, 1.
Bam.
All right. Look who's back.
I'm back.
You know how many times I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of tired of saying this. Like, oh my gosh, look who's back. My partner in crime and co-host of this show. That's weird.
Need some confetti flying in the air.
No more confetti for you. We've done it before. We've had people who listen to the show throw out, it's like, oh my gosh, she's back. Just anybody who's listening, we don't care anymore, right? Like, we know the deal. This is really, let's just call it what it is. This could be a form of abuse. Like, I'm being abused.
I just leave and show up when I want. I leave for a week and I come back home. Oh, hey, hi, honey, I'm home. I'm just gonna be home for an hour and then I'll see you. I don't know when. Bye.
Right. I'm like, oh, I forgot what you looked like. That's what you look like. Yeah, that's what this feels like. So I'm not like asking for anybody's sympathy. I'm just trying to be very transparent and let everybody know how I'm feeling. Abandoned.
I was missed. That's why.
Hold on. Let's calm down a little bit. You were missed. It was more like, hey, like, we have a job to do and I'm picking up your slack. So, you know what I'm saying? It's more like that. Not like, oh my gosh, I missed the conversation so much. I'm going to find, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find another ginger to take your spot.
Find my doppelganger somewhere.
Yeah. I remember I did text you one time.
You did.
Was it about a month ago?
Oh, you did. You're like, are you at
Rayleigh's or Safeway? I can't remember where I was at.
Yeah, I was not. So I was like, no.
Which was good because I hope not, because this person looked a little rough around the edges.
Why'd you think it was me?
Well, that's why I texted you first. I told you, I said, hey, are you at the store? You're like, no, I'm actually homesick. I said, oh, perfect. Well, I saw someone that looks exactly like you if you got into bar fights and brawls every single weekend and won. You're like, what? And like, yeah, that's exactly why I asked first, because I didn't want to, like, if it was you, I'm like, oh, it was Deb. Oops. And then that was my first thought. But yeah, this lady looked like she could scrap.
Don't put it past me. It could have been me, but it wasn't at that time.
Have you seen that movie Us? It's
No.
the Jordan Peele movie.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, then this is not going to make any sense to you, but anybody who's seen Us knows what that this reference is going to mean. And it was kind of like that. Your tether came back to come and get you, but they like, she's not at this Rayleigh's. We messed up. We got to go somewhere else to find her. That's kind of what it felt like. And you did not want to meet this version of Deb. She looked very mean and aggressive.
Hey.
Nope. Don't want to.
No.
Hey, I know you do title boxing. You're in great shape. You know, you've talked about how you punch through windows. I get all that. And I have I would take you in most fights, not this one. This is like a lady that's like, even in prison, I'm like, ooh, I would take her over most people. It was a very rough version of you. It was like the Hulk version of Deb.
My long lost family member, who knows?
Could be. And if that's the case, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you.
Fine.
Yeah. So
good.
I also want to say this before we jump in, because we obviously want to talk about your awesome trip that you went on. But what are we recording on? We're recording on March 29th. And first of all, I want to apologize to anybody if I sound nasally. It's because I am. And it sounds like I'm, I don't know. I just hit puberty. I'm going to probably lose my voice. Voice is going to crack. I sound like, hey. So I apologize to anybody who's listening to this and suffering. This is just what it is right now. But yeah, it's March 29th right now. And allergy season, right in the middle of it. And I hate it. We're actually doing a lot of yard work and my face is just in the middle of grass and weeds. And I pay for it for sure. I need to wear a mask, which is weird now. Because if anybody sees me with a mask in the backyard, like, you scared of COVID in your backyard? Like, no, I'm scared of allergies. This sounds reckless. I would take COVID over allergies. Allergies suck. You know what I mean?
They're no joke.
So
they're the worst.
They are the worst.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's not what I'm trying to say here. No. I was just wondering if you could do me a favor, Deb. I was wondering if, and I don't like to, you and I don't really talk about these types of things, so I'm not trying to pry into your personal life, but if you ever start dating someone seriously, please let me know, because I can't continue to make fun of you after seeing what happened at the Oscars with Will Smith and Chris Rock. I don't need your future boyfriend to come at me like, keep Deb's name out of your effing mouth. I can't have it. So it's all fun and games until you have a boyfriend or a significant other. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to joke anymore.
I knew that was going to be brought up. I was like, there's no way we're not going to talk about this.
But we have to.
Anytime I hop on Instagram, I mean, it's everywhere. Everyone, everybody, every story, every scroll is the meme of Will Smith. And it was funny because the night it happened, one of my coworkers, she texted our entire coworker group chat, which we don't really do outside of work. We'll do sometimes because we're all pretty cool with each other. We're good friends. There's about 9 of us, but we'll do it at work when we need to get information quickly. We'll just group chat. But outside of work, she texted our group chat and she's like, oh my gosh, did you guys just see the Oscars? And I called her, I'm like, what are you talking about? And I'm not watching it. I don't watch TV. I watch Netflix. So the Oscars, I was like, the Oscars are on? Like, I didn't know.
Like I'm watching One Tree Hill for the 10th time.
Right. I think I was doing exactly that. One Tree Hill. And she like sent me the video and everything. And I'm like, there's no way that's real. And I saw it and I saw the whole thing and I'm like, oh no, that was real. Like, there's no. So it's everywhere now. So I'm like, there's no way we're not going to bring it up for a second. But yeah, so we keep saying his phrase, keep my wife's name out of your beep mouth. It
was wild. It was funny. I was kind of in the same boat. We weren't watching it live. And, I hopped on Twitter really quick and then I saw like, oh my gosh, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. And like, oh, all right, something wild happened. And then I just happened to scroll down further and I saw the video of what happened. I'm like, oh,
that's crazy.
That's pretty serious. And then, yeah, you could tell, especially everything that happened after the initial incident was Will Smith's a really good actor. Mm-hmm. He's not that good, in my opinion. It's like, oh, I don't think you could fake that kind of real emotion, especially during his speech, which was very, very strange. And I know a lot of people had different thoughts about it as far as the right and wrong of it. Should he I get all that. And I know that there's a lot of people that are talking about that stuff, but I'm not going to lie. I just got a lot of enjoyment out of Twitter. I've never been, I think I haven't tweeted. Like I have not spent this much time on Twitter in a long time. Because people are very creative. People are so creative, and a lot of Fresh Prince references, which was funny. Denzel got involved, and so there's a lot of Denzel references. Like,
what?
Yeah,
even.
Yeah, he got involved at one point because they showed pictures of him, talking to Will Smith, and I think Tyler Perry was there too. Didn't realize how big Tyler Perry is. Like
He's
huge. Like I know the Medea movies, she's a big lady, but like you watch him, I mean, Denzel's not a small guy. Will Smith is not a small guy. And you see Tyler Perry, he's like, towering. It's just like with kids, I'm like, geez, this guy is huge. Yeah. But no, that was a very strange thing that happened. But like I said, people are so creative. And I'm like, man, I saw somebody post the picture, like the photo of, there was a show on, I think ABC or CBS quite a few years ago called The Slap. Do you remember that? I think it was like a mini series, like a limited series, but it was basically it was this incident that happened at like a backyard party, and this dad slapped a kid from another family, and then it was like I didn't watch it, but I know it was like a big thing, and so people are posting that picture. A lot of funny stuff. Again, I understand it's not good, but a lot of enjoyment. Like I was just dying from some of the stuff that people were saying, because like I said, they're so funny.
But I can't even tell you, I can't even quote a meme that stood out to me because I've seen so many of them, and I'm just like, okay, it's like you said, a lot of Fresh Prince references. I just the whole I got in one little fight and my mom got scared. There's a lot of memes about that. It's crazy.
Well, so I know you're a big fan of Remember the Titans, and it was something like when Denzel finally was able to talk to Will Smith, and then they played that part where he's talking to Petey in the locker room. He's like, oh, it's not funny. It's not funny now, is it? Is it?
Oh yeah.
Not even a little bit. Like, oh my gosh. So
it's
funny.
Crazy. I can't believe he did that on live TV. I'm like, has he lost it? Has he because there are so many other ways he could have handled that. Obviously, that's what everyone's talking about in terms of like it had to be that on, you knew it was live TV, you knew it was the Oscars. It was just so weird that it's just one slap. I guess he didn't want to do enough to like beat his ass and like just start following him and like completely get arrested. It was just very strange. It was just one of those things where it's like, are you okay? And Chris Rock handled it amazingly. He's just like, he made a joke of it and just kept going. It's like, okay.
Right. Well, it was interesting too, because once, you could tell he was really shook at one point, because I think as he was trying to go back into the presentation of the award, he's like we're here to present a documentary. I mean, or an award. Like, oh yeah. It's like, again, he's probably not the greatest actor in the world. He's definitely not that good. Like, I can't believe that it would be fake, because there was so much afterwards that made it seem like it was some real genuine reactions. But he was ready to go too. Like, sorry, he was ready to go. There was at one point where he's like, I could, like, you could tell it's like, oh, and I was ready for it. Like, if you have a comedian that has just bullets loaded in the chamber, ready to spew that, like, oh, I was ready. Like, what's he gonna say? And he backed off, probably doing the wise thing. But I was very interested to see how that was gonna go. But it was a weird situation.
It was definitely gives for sure everyone something to talk about. So maybe it's a publicity stunt. Does he have a new movie coming up or something? Does Will Smith have a big project coming up?
No, but Chris Rock has a big tour.
There you go. I mean,
and apparently, I think Rachel told me earlier, I think she saw an article that his ticket sales are flying right now.
Oh yeah, because now they're gonna that's material, baby.
Jordan mentioned like at least 20 minutes. At least 20 minutes of material.
Yeah. So that was insane.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm not trying to get slapped. So
that was the whole point of bringing it up.
That was why I brought it up. Yeah, I had that ready. That was a planned joke.
Whoever I end up with, they will laugh with you. They're not going to slap you.
Hey,
I don't know.
Hey, you know what? Funny you say that, because Will Smith appeared to be laughing a little bit at first too, and then all of a sudden,
something to it. Yeah, you're right. So,
but again, I was talking to Jordan about this last night, and it could have been one of those things where it's like, like a sarcastic laugh, and then it's like, I'm gonna slap the crap out of you.
Yeah, it's okay. Just we don't see each other in person much anymore anyway. So whoever I'm with, they're not going to be able to get to you. So just through Zoom, you're good.
Okay, that's not really that wasn't the comfort that I was looking for. It's like no, that would never happen. What you said earlier is probably better. It's like, no, they would find it hilarious. Now I'm not sure. Really keeping me on my toes. Anytime I hear like a knock. That'd be terrifying. Someone comes out of the closet back here.
I know, right? Just jumps out and slaps you.
Like, Anyways.
Yeah.
So you didn't get slapped on your trip, did you?
I did not.
There you go.
No.
That's a successful trip then.
Successful trip.
No fights, no slaps. So you've been gone for a little while. I don't know how many like podcast weeks you've been gone. A couple episodes. I forgot.
Episode 2, because I left on a Friday night and then was gone for an entire week and didn't come home till the following Tuesday, like midnight. So 2 weeks.
Two episodes.
I've been gone for, and now I've been gone. I've been back for a week, and I've just now, and then this is my first time going that far out of the country and that far, like literally across the world. I've never flown over the Atlantic Ocean. And so people who are travelers who have done that before or whatever, it's no joke recovering, coming back. And I don't know if that's just because I came back with allergies, or I came back, like I went to work the next day, stupidly enough. And I was so delirious. I was so like, what is happening? Like I'm lucky that day was an easy day at work. And my kids were just doing yoga, and it was a very calm day. There's no way. I mean,
can you imagine if you didn't even, because I'm familiar with where your school is, if you would have just kept going to that next rival high school that's down the road a little ways. It's
Why
like
did you go to the right school?
Pleasant Grove. How'd I get here? Oh, I just
I
missed
mean,
my turn.
I was so delirious. Like, I'm like, am I still buzzed from all the beers I had on my trip? Like, I don't like why I am so like not focused. It took a few days. And then to yesterday, I finally started working out again. I went to Tidal this weekend and I had a soccer game last Thursday night. So just moving around helped because then of course it didn't work out at all on my trip. And so yesterday was my first like normal, I feel normal. So
Gotcha.
anyone who's traveled, I don't know if that's normal or I don't know. It wiped me out.
Oh, well, no, I can imagine because it seemed like it was so quick too. All these different places you went, and it's like, oh, we're on to the next place. So I was following you. And when I say that, it's like wasn't even intentional. I just realized that I'm on Instagram. I'm friends with a couple of your friends now because they've been guests on our podcast, and I'm like, I'm very familiar with your trip because I've seen the same story 15 times.
With Nicole posted it, Deb, and then me. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm very familiar with your guys' trip, which was awesome. But
it was go go go. It was all planned out, which was nice. That was just part of it, and it was go go. I think only one day I got to sleep in till like 9 o'clock. The other days was like things were planned. You get up, you go, and of course I'm gonna go. Like I'm not gonna miss it and miss seeing a part of the country I've never seen before. Especially when you're over there in Europe. And so it was go, go, go. It was fun. Yeah.
It seemed like it. So there's a couple of questions for you. And I'm just going to say this to everybody right now. Like Deb and I were talking. Some of the stories that I'm sure you have some just awesome, hilarious, amazing stories from the trip. Some of those Deb's intentionally going to hold back from this podcast because I'm sure at some point in the near future, she's going to have Nicole and maybe Deb on an episode of the podcast, her own podcast, Not Here to Judge, to really go in depth of those things with the people that were there. So if you're expecting her to give like all of her stories, we're trying to be strategic and she's going to hold some back. As much as I would love to hear them, I have to wait as well and listen to her podcast. But Deb's definitely going to share some stories from her geez.
That
was like me trying to get through a sentence without sneezing.
You sneeze into that microphone.
Stupid allergies. Oh, I can't do it. That's gonna just like everybody's gonna like break their eardrum. But no, so I did have a question for you. So obviously, like you said, you had all kinds of beer tasting throughout all these countries. So two different questions. One is going to seem dumb, but I don't drink, so I'm just curious. This was something you guys did with Log Off Brewing, I think, right? It was something in conjunction with them. So how did that go? How was that all planned out? And this is the dumb question. Like, obviously it was like a decent amount of a beer that you guys were drinking on this trip. Does that affect, I mean, just based on Deb's face right now, like, how much does that affect you as far as, just going and being on the go all the time? Like, again, it's a dumb question, but for me, I don't know how that affects the body. So like, how much of an effect did that have on your trip? I mean, it looked like you guys had a great time. It looked like you guys enjoyed some really interesting types of beer, and you're getting it from these countries that are known for it, which is pretty cool. So anyways, that was a big, long two-part question, but like, explain about like how it worked logistically and then how that affected your body.
So, right. Okay. Trying to remember the last part. So we went, there was about 40 of us, I think, maybe even 45 of us. So we literally.
So I'm sorry, hold on. I'm going to interrupt you. I didn't realize how big the group was going to be. I thought it was like a group of like 10 of you guys. And then I kept seeing these people. I'm like, are they just meeting these people on the trip?
Yeah.
So a group of 40 that were planned, like it was a planned group. Got it.
Yeah. Okay. The girl, I stayed with the same, there were six of us. I stayed with the same 5 other girls, like throughout the duration. Like we all sat together at dinner, like we kind of designated ourselves because like we knew each other. So there were 6 of us to where we kind of did everything together at one point or another. But yeah, there was about 40 of us. I didn't even know or get to know everyone on the bus. We literally went to the airport in a big charter bus, from Log Off. So it all came together because one of our brewmasters, Matt, his mom, Connie, is a travel agent. And so she kind of put it together for us last summer. So this trip has been planned for almost a year. and just kind of opened it up kind of specifically for log off customers and maybe a few other people outside just to see who would grab it, who would grab bait. And a lot of us did. So we got like a group discount, and it was just, and the part of that was, it was cool because not only did we go on the cruise, we went on a 7-day or 7-night Rhine River cruise, which goes through, like, it starts in the Netherlands, goes through Germany and France, and it ends up in Switzerland. So there's like a river like along the border of all those countries. Not only that, but I didn't realize this honestly until a few days before we left, just because I didn't really look at the itinerary. I was like, yeah, we're going to, I'm with all these people. I'm fine. It's fine. And so we were in Belgium for like a whole weekend in a hotel, and with scheduled brew tastings and scheduled things. We had a little bit of free time. So anyway, so she planned all of that. So I can what's it called? Ships and Trips is Connie's agency. Nicole has mentioned it before on the episode that Nicole was on.
Yeah, that was her connection suggestion.
Yeah. So Connie, she does a great job planning all that. She got us a good group rate for airline tickets, to fly across the country, which can be pricey. So anyway, so that's how that trip was planned out. But once we got so we went to Belgium first for the weekend. And then once we got on the boat, the cruise line kind of had everything planned out. And the cool thing about that, so if anyone has been on an ocean cruise, like, have you been on a Carnival or like Royal Caribbean cruise?
No.
Okay. So if you go on those and it's an ocean cruise and the boat's ginormous, obviously, the excursions you pay extra for them.
Mm-hmm.
But on this, it was a smaller riverboat, so there were probably only like 150 passengers, and then plus the crew. So it was more intimate. You got to know people who, like, we met people not from our group. Obviously, we took up half the boat, but because there were so many of us. But it's a smaller boat, way smaller, and the excursions were included. So you just pick what you want to do and you go. It's included in the price. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. So that was a pretty good deal if anyone's ever interested in going, I don't know, across the country on one of those types of river cruises. So that's how that worked. And I mean, we didn't have to go off boat. We could have stayed on boat, but it would dock and then it would travel out through the night, and it would dock at this town, travel at night, travel during the day, kind of, like most cruises do.
Yeah.
So so that's how that was organized. As far as the beer.
Okay. So can I ask you one question? Since we're on this organized part of the trip and logistics.
Yeah.
So now looking back, so sorry, I'm going to interrupt you a couple of times. I apologize, but there's just going to be, because I'm just curious. Hold on. I need to bring my screen back. There we go. I just got a call and the whole screen just shifted. It's like, hey, what's the call? What was I going to say? Oh, okay. So obviously we had our friend Brian Asher on the show a little while ago. He's a teacher from Rio who's known as a world traveler. Mm-hmm. And he was saying that he just prefers to kind of have a bunch of freedom and go to these places and not do like the excursions and have a planned trip, but just kind of go and experience the culture. Yours sounds like it was very much planned in it. There was kind of an itinerary. Mm-hmm. Now looking back, would you prefer to do it that way again? Would you like to be able just to roam and kind of have some more freedom, or like what's your personality when it comes to stuff like that?
If I were to go back to the exact same places, I'd want my freedom this time around. Mm-hmm. But it was nice just because the only other country I've only been to Mexico, and then I've done a Caribbean cruise. And again, people are with you. Like, I've never gone rogue by myself or with, a small group. And we just kind of, I don't know, we're going to this country. We've never been here before. Let's just explore. No. And it's different for women, I think. Right. So it's,
I've seen Taken.
I can't tell you how many times I've got referenced about that movie when I tell people where I'm going. They're like, please don't get taken. I'm like, understand, I'm not going by myself. I'm going with a big group of people. I literally will not be alone ever.
Okay, hold on. Since we referenced Taken and people have made that, if that was the situation, you were taken, who is your Liam Neeson? Who's coming after you?
Nicole was one of them.
Okay.
All of my girlfriends, literally all of them combined, is Liam Neeson. They can rule the world with all the information they could probably gather. Like, women are very good. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm blanking. Women are very good detectives.
Detectives,
They
got it.
just find out. They were like, she's got her phone locator. Da, 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 if that, if not, if her phone, okay, her phone got dumped here, so now we need to travel north. And I think she went this way. Like, they just would figure it out. I don't. So I don't think. I don't know. And then I don't know that there's one particular person who is just Liam Neeson. I think it would be a collection of literally all my friends.
All right.
Is Liam Neeson combined.
There you go. Just the whole squad. I like
The
that.
whole squad. So
That makes sense. Death, or Nicole mentioned death a few times when she was on this podcast. She said she didn't mean it, but you know, when someone mentions death that many times,
she'll stab someone in the throat. So she's been wanting to do that. So she
exactly. She's been wanting.
She'll be the one to say, "I will find you and I will kill you." She will.
A special set of skills. Yeah.
Skills. Yes, yeah. They all do. All of them combined.
Okay. Anyway, sorry.
And then now I forgot what I was saying. Dang it, Josh. What was I?
I had to know. Who's the Liam Neeson.
Oh, okay. Oh no. Well, you were saying if I could go back to another, if I were to go back to those exact same towns, now I know them. Now I know I would definitely want to go back to the same like little cafes that I went to, the same breweries that I tried, the same little like. So I definitely would want free time. Now if I were to go in a different spot in that country, I do like the organized thing. It feels safer to me. It's more safe to me. It's touristy, but that's fine. I'd rather do touristy the first time around, especially in a foreign country, especially in Europe, especially as a female. I know that I don't mean to make women sound weak, but it's just statistically speaking, it's just really sad. So it's just, anyway, that part.
It's not weak though. It's just like it's another set of things that you have to consider.
Yeah, exactly. And so anyway, so I just definitely, I like the planned part for sure, even if it is go go go, or if it seems rushed, which this trip, it didn't seem rushed, to be honest. It was just the schedule. They couldn't have made it any better, I don't think. They utilized as much time as possible from the time we docked to the time we had to be back on the boat, every time we stopped somewhere. So that was nice. So that was I'm not into the whole let me just stop here and I do like exploring. Actually, on our free time, that's when we got to explore. So we did get to explore. We weren't with the tour guide. We actually me and my friends, we were the rebels. That's shocking, right? And we would ditch the tour guide. And so we would walk away from the tour. We would look around and be like, dude, we can see them. We're fine. And we'd walk away. We'd come over here. We'd catch up with them later. So we in part did like a half and half, like 1 foot in. Okay, the tour guide, we see them. Okay, let's go into this shop over here. Or let's go around the corner. We don't want to go over there. So we ditched the tour guide a few times, just saying. So I kind of like the half and half thing where I'm with people that I know and people that know what they're doing, and we get to explore.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you're basically like, if you kind of turn on your teacher brain, you are the kids at the theme park that don't show back up at the bus on time.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We like wandered off so many times.
Yeah.
We're like, we don't want to, and the tour guides would give history lessons, and we would listen to the first 2 minutes of it just to see where are we, what is this castle called, or what is this church called, and when was it built, and that's all we were interested in. And then we would walk away and go find something else to do while he was talking. We'd come back, oh my God, he's still talking. We'd go back, we'd leave again. Okay, let's go back into this shop over here. And so we just weren't, the history lessons, I mean, went over our heads in one ear and out the other. We're like, we're not going to remember this. Let's just find something else to do. So we utilized that time good.
That's awesome. That's how people probably feel about this podcast too. It's like, oh, they're still talking. I'm gonna go try something else. Listen to some music or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So going back to what my original question was before I interrupt you with 3 more. So obviously, like, because it was with Log Off Brewing, you guys had it looked like you guys had a lot of intentional beer stops and tours maybe that were set up along the way. Like, was there a certain point where you're like, oh, I don't really want to taste it? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just certain times where it's like, even with like food or whatever it may be, you get to a certain point where it's like, man, this is cool, but like, I'm just so full. I don't feel like tasting this anymore. Like, How did that affect you? Do you feel like it affected you? And then like, obviously how much fun was it? Like, we don't want to just make it sound like it's not a negative thing. It's just, like a
Oh,
lot, right? Like it's a lot of,
it, yeah. Well, let me start off by saying that it was a blast. Like
yeah,
seriously, so much fun. Would not, I don't even have, if I have a complaint, I'll let you know, but it will have nothing to do with log off or beer or anything. Like it
yeah.
was so fun. The only I mean, honestly, the only complaint is that we still had to wear masks on the boat, which was stupid. But just because it's like we sit
Really?
down, anyway, so we won't get into all that. Yeah, it's like, but
Seems
anyway,
silly.
yeah, it was silly. But okay, so going back to the beer, it was, we did most of the beer tasting and brew hopping in Belgium when we were at the hotel.
Yeah.
So, like literally that's all we did. So we would wake up, okay, a travel agent would say, all right, we got to be down, be down at the lobby for breakfast, and we're leaving by 8. Like we're leaving, we're going on the bus. And to be honest, me and my friends, we were not paying attention to where we were going, or like what, we didn't ask questions. Okay, go to breakfast. And we get on the bus. We're like, all right, we're going first brew stop, 9 a.m. We're going to, we're like, what? All right. Like you just kind of have to mentally prepare. But, if you're someone who doesn't drink alcohol at all, like that does not, you probably would rather get stabbed in the foot than do any of that. But we like beer, we like wine. Obviously we don't drink at 9 a.m. every day, not even on the weekend. There's the occasional brunch and the
Are you
occasional
at school?
at school. Yes. And we should be allowed to drink at school. I'll get into that later.
I was gonna say, yeah. Might
We'll
be a
talk
different
about,
thing.
maybe let me touch on that at the end of this episode about all the teaching strikes and stuff. I have a few things to say, but so it would be 9 a.m. go to this brewery, and you know what, but when we were at the brewery, again, it was another tour, it was another history lesson. We weren't we would go through the factory, go through the tour, and it was really cool actually to talk to these people. It was in Belgium, so they had a lot of history. But then at the end, then we would sit and like taste beers or something. And then we would go hop over to another brewery, and then let's do it again. So it wasn't that we like had a beer in our hand from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. But it was a lot of beer tasting. For me personally, everyone's different. If I start drinking a little bit early in the morning, I'm gonna have to keep that pace throughout the day. Kind of, if I stop, and I'm gonna crash so hard. It's almost like a sugar high.
Yeah.
It's like it's a sugar high and then crash. But like, so I have to keep going until, and I just, okay, I won't even get started with how they poured us way more alcohol on the boat at dinner time than we drank at the breweries. I can't even.
Well, because at the breweries, it's like you said, it's mostly tasting, right? So it's not like it's like a massive glass.
No, it's a tasting, and then they would give us. But then if we would want a glass, some of them, depending on which one we went to, would give us one. Some of them were cooler than others. Some of them tasted better than others. There were two breweries back to back in Belgium one day, where these breweries specifically didn't use sugar or carbonation in their beer.
Oh,
and if you're a beer drinker, those are two key main ingredients, I think, because it tasted like vinegar, and that's not what beer tastes like or should taste like. It was very rough. We basically like didn't try. If you have ever tasted a sour beer, like 100,000 times more sour than your most sour beer you've ever tasted. Like that's what it tasted like.
But they enjoy that over there.
Yeah.
Or is that like a novelty thing? For that specific brewery.
They were trying to call it like a skinny beer and saying how it is gonna make its way over. I think they said it is going to make its way over to the US, but we tried it and we're like, no, this will not be received well in the US. This is not good. This is not as good.
You're just the US spokesperson for the beer. It's like, nah,
we said
keep
nothing.
This one.
We didn't want to be disrespectful, but those were only a couple breweries. The rest of them were great. The beers were really good. Actually, we tried to sneak some over back into our luggage back over here, but because we bought so many souvenirs, we had to dump beer and leave some beer behind and drink it on the boat really quick before coming back home. Like
bummer.
I know.
That's a bummer.
Yeah. So like I said, so the whole brew tasting sounds heavy, but when we got on the boat and we realize that at dinner, oh, they're going to keep pouring me wine. It's like not, there's no bottom, and it's just like included. So it's not like they're going to ask, do you want, this? It's it's this much money. They just keep, I mean, it was insane. So that was rough. But so I'm on a detox cleanse, so to speak, or whatever. It was, yeah, I think that was part of my delirious state coming back of just so much alcohol.
Well, when did you do your dry? Was it January?
I did dry January. So
was that in preparation?
Yes and no. It was, both. It was a challenge. And jokingly, it was in preparation. I still had all of February though, which I didn't even
That's true.
do that much in February. I kind of was okay not drinking. I feel better. There's lots of benefits to not drinking alcohol for sure. And then, as soon as March hit, I'm like, nope, we need to start this back up because we're going to be drinking. I need to be conditioned. I need to be ready, prepared. Right. So anyway, everyone handles it differently. And then don't get me wrong. It wasn't like I was like puking every morning. I actually never got sick.
Oh no.
I felt good there's only one morning I woke up. And this will be more information on when I unravel all the stories on Not Here to Judge your guys. I mean, it's going to take me a while because we actually recorded on my phone. I don't know if I did it right. I still have to check, fingers crossed. We recorded episodes while we were out there.
Oh, nice.
Things as they were happening. We were in real life. We were in real time. So I'm going to try to put, with my little knowledge that I have of putting podcasts together, I'm going to try to put that together into one episode and then talk about all of that afterwards. Anyway,
I'll let Rachel know you're probably going over to the house. That sounds like
it does. She doesn't know how to do this. Yeah. There was this one morning where I didn't feel good. And that's because the night before we were in Amsterdam before our cruise left. We were there all night getting tattoos, and it's a long story. So to be continued on my Not Here to Judge podcast, but I ended up drinking a few Heinekens out there because it was a lot. And so in terms of like calming my nerves down, because we were at the red light district in Amsterdam. And I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that or been there or knows what happens out there, but we'll talk about that. I'll talk about that more.
That's where the taken jokes maybe aren't as funny.
I mean, yes.
Right. Putting it mildly.
So it was just a lot. So anyway, the next morning I felt like kind of like, okay, I can't do, but the rest of the time I was fine. It was great. The food was amazing. Another cleanse I'm on right now is because I didn't work out at all. So it was really fun. So that's how I handle beer, is that, all the alcohol, you just have to pace yourself. You have to not drink too much. I personally don't drink to get drunk. Like that's when I don't feel good. That's when I get sick. I'm 34. I've already learned that lesson. And some people are fine. Some people can honestly do that and party and go hard and even get sick and not care. And the next day they're fine. I can't do it. I can't do the spins. I can't do that. I know my own body. And that's just when it comes to alcohol. If you want to drink responsibly or not, or feel okay the next day, you just have to know your limit and when to stop and what to drink. So I know mine. So I just made sure I wasn't going to get sick.
Yeah, no. And I want to make this very clear. I think anybody who knows me knows this, but anybody who doesn't know me as well and just knows me from this podcast, I want to make it very clear. I don't bring that question up. I almost didn't ask that question. It was like, as you know, Deb, we've had plenty of conversations. I don't drink, but I also don't care what people do. Do whatever you want. So that was not meant to be a like, oh my gosh, how much did you drink? I was just curious because I was just more curious about, because like I said, it seemed like it was like tasting after tasting, which is why you guys are there to experience that, because it's with log off. But I'm like, at a certain point, I'm like, dang, like, were you just like numb to it? Or it's like, oh, okay. Like, obviously that's why you go, but then it's like I said, even if you went to like some kind of food festival, right?
Right.
It's like, okay, I've had chocolate 5 days in a row. I don't want to see another chocolate bar. I love chocolate, but I'm just kind of tired of it. So I was curious. I was curious if that was the case or what the experience was like. So I just want to make that very clear to everybody. I don't care. I was just curious, how that was, handled and all that stuff. So
right. I will tell you that as soon as I got home, I was like, I do not want to see alcohol. I don't want to look at food. I don't want to anything. I can't. I just want to be in bed for a week. Like
just go on a run.
completely done.
Yeah,
Go on
yeah,
a
yeah.
run, sweat it out. Like I just need a break for a second. So yeah, so it was go, 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 but it was really fun.
Now, so let me ask you this. So obviously, like I know I've had family that's gone to Japan. I have family that lives in Japan. They've sent stuff over before. My family, my mom, dad, and aunt went not too long ago, a couple years ago.
Yeah.
They bring stuff back, right? And you have like Japanese Kit Kats, and you have Japanese,
Yeah.
and obviously the big thing with them is like it's not nearly as sweet as like the
Oh,
candy
okay.
here. Now, what was like I guess your biggest takeaway as far as the beer goes? Because obviously you're going to a place, Belgium, known for that. Um, how did it compare to what you are used to here? Was there one that just like blew your mind? I was like, oh my gosh, if I could have this back home, I would
Yeah.
take it with me. And then obviously we know which one you hated. You made that clear, the vinegar beer.
The vinegar beer, the no sugar, no carb beer. Yes. First of all, so I love hazy beers. They don't make those in Europe. There's
What is that?
hazy. It's like I don't know, like a
Never
double
mind.
filtered IPA. I don't know. It's just called a hazy.
Okay. Sure.
It's got a very hoppy taste to it,
Okay.
but it also like has some citrusy notes in it. I like it. I don't like every single hazy I try, but I like most of them. That's what I usually get when I go. I look for a hazy on the menu wherever I go. If we're going to have beer, they don't have those in Europe. But they have a lot of blondes,
Okay.
which is a lighter beer, a beer that was really good in Belgium. And I think that was it. It was just in Belgium. I don't think we found it in Germany or France, but there was like a cherry. It was like a cherry sour beer. Now
Hmm.
I know they can make that here easily, but the way it tasted was just like you're drinking cherry, just delicious juice that's like not too sweet, not too bitter. Like it was just really good. It did not taste like
Interesting.
beer. It was so good. And we were drinking it with one of the brewmasters that went with us, and he was like, oh, we're like, yes, can you make that? Like, can you bring that back to us? So he bought a few, I think, to take back home.
Oh,
Anyway,
that's pretty cool.
so,
Try to
yeah,
get it down.
right, yeah. And he got to talk to the people who make that type of beer. So that beer was so good.
That's
Uh,
interesting. That's
yeah.
probably that was probably like so for the brewmaster that was with you, that's almost like an educational trip
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, it
trying to
was.
pick up some
We had-
ideas and tips and like bring some ideas back home, which is kind of a cool thing.
That's why we did all the brew that's why we did all the brew tours, but we just kind of tagged along with him, I guess.
There you go. It's like,
Yeah,
hey, let's try to get this recipe down.
let's
This
just go.
one, skip
Yeah,
completely. Don't ever bring this to your brewery. It's
right.
trash.
Right. What was really interesting too is that, first of all, in Europe, I have obviously found out the equivalent to here in the US of a Starbucks being on every corner of every building. In Europe, there's a dessert or pastry shop on every single
Ooh,
in every other building. It's dessert, chocolate, or pastries. That's a huge thing. It's huge and it's so good. Their chocolate is unreal. Like I can't even. And the way they make their bread, we almost stole a loaf of bread from the hotel in Belgium where we had our continental breakfast. Oh my God. If anyone follows me on my story and you saw that continental breakfast was like
it was no joke.
freaking restaurant like feast of just here, serve yourself, and here make your own crepe right here, and here is a charcuterie board, basically platter of like different meats and cheeses you can have, and over here, oh, here's just like a smorgasbord of just fresh bread that we just keep bringing out. It was insane. And there was like a cappuccino machine. It was like, what is it? It was amazing. It was so good. I don't know, I'm not a fancy person, so I don't, like, even within the US, I don't go to like nice hotel. I don't know, but it was cool. But their bread just is so good. So their food is unreal, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
We did go to a McDonald's in Germany, like on the German-France border. I can't even tell you the town it was. I don't remember. On one of the last days there, just for kicks, just to see. And it was interesting. Their breading for like their chicken nuggets tastes way better over there. Way
Interesting.
better. I don't know what they do to it. I don't know what it is. It's lighter. It's almost it's like I can't even Like even just the crispness of it. I don't know how they fry it. I don't know what they do to it. It is so freaking good. The breading from their chicken sandwich was tasted better. Everything else kind of tasted the same. Their French fries were the same. They did make these like chip looking fries as well. Those were good. So anyway, so the breading at their McDonald's is better than ours.
Interesting. I feel like that does like a fun thing for people to do when they go to a different country is go to McDonald's, because I feel like there's always something a little bit different about it.
Yeah, we were just curious. Right. It was a leisure day. It was actually a lot of a free time type of day. There were no excursions planned, or at least any that looked interesting to us. So me and Deb and Nicole, we went on a bike ride just by ourselves, kind of took a risk. All right, bye. No one's going to know where we are, but we're just going to go out. And we went to nowhere and back. We just were like, okay, let's turn around. There's nothing out here. And then that's when we saw McDonald's by the boat. We're like, oh my God, let's just do it. We leave tomorrow. Let's try a McDonald's finally. And so it was interesting. You
guys didn't find a Taco Bell, right?
No, we didn't. There was a Taco Bell out there.
I'm just kidding. That was a reference to your other podcast. If anybody's not sure what
that would have been a good one though.
Yeah, sorry.
To tag you in it or something.
Yeah, that story's never gonna leave my mind.
You guys have to listen to the episode on Not Here to Judge with Nicole and Jamie to know what Josh is talking about.
Yeah,
to Nicole's dating story about Taco Bell.
Yeah, and this is not off the table yet, but I have considered doing like a reaction video with Jordan about that story.
I would love that. It'd be great.
I'm considering it still. So it's horrible, but it's awesome at the same time. So anyways, that was a dumb question that was inside joke. Go listen to other podcasts and you'll understand what I'm saying.
Okay. Food was good. The beer was good. Everything was good. I can't even think of something that we tried that wasn't good except for the sour beer.
Sour beer.
Yeah.
Well, with all that stuff, you guys still found plenty of time to do the TikTok dance challenge or whatever kind of challenge that was as well. I saw that. I was like, oh man, this took some time.
We did it in our goal was to do it in every town. Now we skipped a few because there were a few towns that we went to that we kind of split up and we had to keep it the same. We wanted to keep it the same girls.
Sure.
And so we tried to do it in front of big monumental places that we went to. That was fun. Someone thought of that at the very beginning of the trip.
Nice.
And so we had to hold off. So the video literally took a week and a half ish to make. And
you guys were in for the long haul.
Right. Our group also had a group photo challenge, and that was our video/photo challenge. And so
cool.
I don't know if we won. I don't think anyone cared or knew what it was, but it was just fun putting it together.
What was the prize?
What
was the prize of the challenge?
I don't know. Some one of the brewmasters at Log Off started it. I don't know. That's a great question. I should ask.
You should find out. Yeah, see if it's really worth the effort. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. It was more of a laugh. Like after we did it every single time and watched it back, we were cracking up. So it was more awesome. For us. We just thought it was hilarious. It was just So it was good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So I'll tell more stories. I'm not here to judge. I have way more in-depth story. Like I said, we did it and we recorded real time reactions to things and real conversations with people out there.
Yeah.
And we would do a recap. We'd go to the top of the boat and say, we got a recap today. Today was crazy. And we would talk about it. So there's more specific. I literally couldn't even tell you right now. I don't remember off the top of my head specifically, but yeah, it was fun. So I have lots to post about it later.
Did you happen to tell people that you do this podcast while you were out there?
You mean like with strangers?
Yeah, or anybody.
My girls knew, like while we were recording, like that's why they would record with me. Like, okay, we got to record for the podcast. Like we have to so they knew what it was. But like conversations we had with people, like I just didn't even tell them. We just would talk with them.
I'm just curious. I obviously, I look at the downloads all the time. And there were a couple of times where like they would pop up out that direction. And I'm like, I wonder if she's been just like saying, hey,
oh my gosh, that's
podcast. Cool. And then it's like, let me check it out. It was just weird timing. So I'm wondering if that was the case, or maybe they just happened to see that you were there. I don't know.
Well, we did make friends with the wait staff on our cruise boat, and we all exchanged Instagrams. So they're following me on Instagram now. So we'll see. So that could be it too.
Yeah. No, I was just curious. I'm like, that seems seems like weird timing.
Yeah.
So
It was fun.
It just took Deb, all the way across the country to promote our show. But that's okay. Not a big deal.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah. I thought I had another question for you. I'm not even sure how long we've been recording. I know we're kind of going to wrap it up here in a few minutes, but what do you have any just a couple pieces? Jeez.
On the struggle bus today.
I don't think I'm having a stroke on air. Sorry, everybody. Not that strokes are funny. I just want to put that out there.
But he is.
I'm making fun of it right now about myself. Not that anybody else would have one. What are some what's it like maybe one thing that you would do differently knowing what you know now about any parts of the trip, how you packed, what you packed, what you did specifically? Is there anything that you would do differently, if you had the chance to do the whole trip over again?
Yeah, I would bring an empty suitcase because I had a full suitcase, a checked suitcase that was not like, it was just at 50 pounds. So, I'm a girl, so I have all my toiletry stuff that I got to put in there. And then I had my carry-on that was very light and there was room. So I thought, if depending on how long you're gone for, if you're gone for a week and you need another, like two of my friends had to buy an extra suitcase out there in Europe because they knew they weren't going to have enough room. Wow. I myself had to purposefully leave toiletries behind to get rid of the weight. And I had to purposefully leave some things. I accidentally left a couple things too. Like nothing super irreplaceable. But coming back was a struggle. And again, like we wanted to bring back the actual bottles of beer with beer in it, and we couldn't. the only liquids that we brought back were 4 bottles of wine. We did a wine tasting in Germany. Okay. I was like, no, we're not dumping this. We're dumping, like, let's either chug the beer or dump the beer. Like, we are not dumping this delicious wine. Anyway, so those made it back safe and sound. But I definitely would bring another, like seriously, an empty suitcase or I don't know, because that was stressful trying to get everything back in our suitcase. Yeah.
I'm guessing, going back to the chugging or leaving of the beer and anything, even if it was food, I imagine that you're not alone when it comes to that. Like, I'm sure so many people are stuck in that situation. Like, oh, dang, I can't bring this. All right, bottoms up, gotta get it down.
Well, we literally had quote beer tastings on the actual cruise ship before dinner with our log off group, because we kept buying beer at these breweries, and we're like, we aren't going to be able to bring all this back. So me and my friends, we went up there with like 12 bottles of beer. We're like, here you go. We were going to take these home, but this is part of our beer tasting tonight because we can't, there's no way. So we would just share beer. Like, that was our quote beer tasting for the night.
Cool.
But we would just leave it and like have like 2 sips of something and then just go do something else and just, here you go, drink this, because we can't even bring it back. So
interesting.
So extra suitcase, I think, for sure. I don't know how people feel about bringing back souvenirs, but I think it's important to bring back souvenirs from another country, especially for sure. Time. So people are going to want things, gifts for people. So a lot of room in that. So
awesome. Did you bring back a lot of gifts for people?
Yes. Yeah. Only one thing broke. Something.
Oh no.
I know. And then, so I'm just gonna have to show evidence and say, look, I tried to buy you this and it broke in my suitcase. So everything else made it. So that's
nice. A bummer.
Yeah.
That would suck.
Yeah, I know. So anyway.
So extra suitcase. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like people do that though. Sometimes I feel like people bring an extra suitcase for those types of things.
Extra suitcase. And then if you're going to take a long flight, like we went to London and we had like the 2 meals on the flight, as I was like a straight 10-hour flight. I would not, so I don't know how people feel about bringing a blanket. You don't need a blanket. I swear to God. I was like, I had a blanket, like a small blanket with me. First of all, they provide one for you if you want one, if you're cold. I don't know how comfortable it is. I didn't use it, but I brought my own, and it was seriously a waste of space around my feet and in my arms as I'm carrying it through the airport. So I would not even know. And they have a pillow for you if you want. Even honestly though, even like a neck pillow on an airplane wasn't like super comfortable. It was a little helpful, but I don't know. So anyway,
I can go to sleep without any of that.
Yeah.
I'm out. A couple of times just on shorter flights, I fall asleep before takeoff, and like during that whole process,
I've done
I'm
that before. Yeah.
see, not a
Yeah.
problem for me. They're like, how'd you do that? Very easy. I closed my eyes, and before I knew it, we were up in
Josh
the
is
air.
like, very easy. I have 2 kids.
That was pre kids.
Pre kids.
Now it's like I might fall asleep, halfway walking to the plane. Like,
Right.
yeah, I might miss my flight.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this before we get out of here. What do you do on the plane? What do you when you travel? I mean, that's your first like really long trip like
Right.
that.
That
You
big
read movies,
movies.
podcasts. You listen to podcasts.
Read. No, I would watch. I think I watched 1 or 2 movies on the way there and then slept the rest of the time. And then they wake you up for food. I eat, I go back to sleep. And I did the same thing on the way back. I think I only watched on the way back. I was exhausted because I was end of our
Sure.
trip. Like I need to catch up on sleep.
Yeah, night.
I think I watched 1 movie and I think I passed out the rest of the time. It was so funny because on the way there, I didn't get up at all, not to go to the bathroom, nothing, not to stretch. I was just in my ass in my seat for the whole time. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I just didn't want to move and I was in the middle both times going there and back. And on the way back, I got up more and went to the bathroom more. I walked around and talked to my friends in the next row over more and like was standing more. So I was a little more fidgety on the way home. But I was also tired. So I did 1 movie, did some chit chatting, and then passed out for the rest of the time.
Gotcha. What'd you watch?
Oh gosh, now I'm blanking. I swear.
I
watched movies that I've seen before. Like there's a movie called It's Complicated.
Okay.
Seen it, watched it on the way there. What did I watch that I've never seen before? I can't even like tell you.
Well, this is one of those questions I regret. This was a dead end.
Yeah,
that happens sometimes. I throw out a question to Deb and it's a dead end. And like,
I don't know. I will tell you though, I was getting on the way home, I was getting like congested and like sinusy and allergy. I don't know. Maybe it was everything kind of calming down for me. And then all of a sudden, like when you're crazy busy and all of a sudden you stop, you get like this kind of cold. Right. So coming home, my right ear was not popping. I don't know if anyone's ever experienced this. I'm sure many people have, but like it was not painful. Like it didn't hurt. It was just uncomfortable. Like I couldn't hear anything. It was like if you were to put your fingers right here, if you're watching the YouTube, right at like in the base of your temple and press, and like you're losing that's how it was. And Deb's sitting next to me talking and I'm looking at her like, huh? Like she's next to me talking and I'm like, I can't hear you. And she's looking at me, it's like my ears have not popped. And then we're on the ground and my ears still haven't popped. It was just the weirdest feeling. It was so uncomfortable. Brutal. My ears they're finally fully popped now. It took a couple days actually. Like they started slowly popping as I'm like walking around at the airport. And then I remember my right ear didn't pop until a few days later. And I talked to people and they're like, oh, that happened to me. And I'm like, okay, so there's nothing. I don't know. I didn't know if there was something wrong with me. I'm like, why is my ear's not popping? But that was
I'm deaf. Everybody.
Right.
Oh no.
That was right. That was uncomfortable, but
sure.
I mean, that was, I was like, all right, now I'm officially done. Like I need to go home and go to bed.
Yeah.
Go to bed.
Gotcha. Well, that's awesome. Sounds like it was a fun trip. I look forward to hearing more of the in-depth stories.
Yeah.
On one of your upcoming podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Are you enjoying that podcast?
It is. Yes. I love it. It's fun. I have some really good episodes coming out that I have been not, I was just telling Josh before we recorded, I'm like, so I haven't released an episode this week and I have one in my edit box and I still have to listen to it. So I have 2 that are just sitting in my little garage band that I haven't put out yet. So, I mean, that's the only downside of me being in control of my own podcast is that I'm going to slack a little bit. Josh is very on top of it, which is why every episodes come out every week. I was doing good there for a little bit. So now there's going to be a slight delay in some coming out, but I have some good guests coming up. I'm going to try to get my trip podcast edited and down as soon as I can. So there's not too much time from it. I don't know. So now that I'm in charge of this one, it's kind of like it's a hit or miss. You get what you get.
Yeah, I didn't really consider that when I offered up the idea of you doing a trip podcast. Like, oh, this could be a year from now. by the time you get to it.
I'm just gonna have to sit down one day this weekend and just bang it out. Like, I don't know. I'm just gonna have to sit and do it. So.
All right. Well, good luck. I'm impressed. You've done a good job so far. I'm not gonna lie. You dropped them consistently for longer than I thought you would.
You see, that's,
I mean, that is no disrespect.
Same thing. I was like, there's no way I'm going to be consistent with this. There's no way. And then I was like, oh, I got 4 in a row out. Yes. And now here we go. Now I've slowed down. So they're coming. Just be patient. But I have some good ones coming up.
Yeah. And she's had some really good ones. All jokes aside, really good episodes. I some of them I don't listen all the way through because the one was 2 hours. I'm like, I can't do this. As funny as it was, I'm like, I'll skip through. And I just, like I said, luckily I did happen to stumble across the Taco Bell story.
Yeah.
But yeah, really good episodes. I've enjoyed them. You're doing a great job. I'm also, hey, everybody, I'm the only review on her podcast right now, which is not saying much because I review our podcast too. So get out there and go review Deb's podcast, give it 5 stars. And write something nice or not. I don't really care. As long as there's a 5-star review, it doesn't really matter. So if you guys would do that, that would be awesome. Go give her a 5-star review so she can continue to be more visible on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. That would be awesome. So
yes. Gracias.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's it.
I told Josh, we got here's my heart out time because I need to go for a run because I have not worked out. I'm actually, just to close this up, I am signed up for a 10K trail run this Saturday in Folsom. So
nice.
I don't know how that's going to go. So I'll give you an update next time we record.
You'll be fine. 10K. You'll be fine.
I know I'll be fine. That's why I'm like, I need to run today. I need to hit the pavement. So that's what I'm going to go do right now.
When are you going to do a marathon?
Oh God. I don't know. I think I want to do another half marathon first before I do a full marathon. No, just do it.
Here, I've done 4 of them, Deb. There's not been one point in my life that I've been in better shape than you. So I was able to do 4 of them. It's long. Yeah, it's cool. I think you would enjoy it. You would enjoy it for sure. It's the training that sucks. But my thought is like, why waste your time with another half marathon? Just do the full thing.
Okay. Just do it.
Yeah.
Okay. I will ponder upon it.
She's not going to do that. She's not going to ponder anything. She's like, I'm going to do a half marathon. And Josh can shut up.
If I get friends who are like, no, you're doing it with me, then that's when I'm like, okay. Or if I get friends to do it with me. So I'll try.
That's good to know. Everybody, Deb can be peer pressured.
Can be peer pressured for sure.
There we go. It's like, we're doing a marathon. All right. I guess I'm doing a marathon. Perfect. All right. Well, enjoy your run. You guys I'm going to go ahead and take care of this because I have a feeling this is not going to go well if you try. You guys can follow us at Connectable Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You can follow us at Connectable Pod on Twitter. And that's pretty much it. And like I said, definitely while you're giving Deb's podcast, Not Here to Judge, a 5-star rating and review, just take the time to also give a 5-star rating and review to our podcast too, Connectable. That would be awesome. And yeah. That's all I've got.
That's it.
Cool.
Sweet.
All right, you guys, we'll see you next week. See ya. Thanks for watching the show. If you enjoyed that episode, make sure you like it, share it, and hit the subscribe button to get a new episode every week. We'll see you next time on the Connectable Podcast.